Dork back again, and today I'm filming episode 26 of my Dork Cast. I could think of no other name for this other than Dream Big. My guest today is a friend. Her name is Mária Oreská, and she is the Chief Product Officer at Inphinity. If you watch all my Dork Casts, and I sure hope that you do, you'll know that I have had Mária on a Dorkcast before, and at that time she was the Chief Technology Officer at Inphinity. So my life was made easy. All I had to do to get ready for today was change the title. I changed one word, and I'm good to go. As always, I know you're multitaskers. Be sure to reach out to Mária and connect with her right now, because I think as I walk through what we're doing and she shares, Mária is someone you're going to want to be connected to. I first remember being connected with Mária just out of necessity because she is one of our technology partners that I work with closely. And I love the products that Inphinity has and the things that they do in the market for Qlik. But I really connected with Mária on a personal level during COVID. If you'll put yourselves back almost 4 years now, you'll remember it got to a point with COVID where everyone was isolated and everyone began feeling isolated and cut off from the world. And people began showing this COVID dashboard and that COVID dashboard and the other COVID dashboard. My focus at the time was in just the sheer craziness of some of these things, comparing one country's COVID cases to another country's COVID cases. And my thing was about context, because as you all know, I always say that context is king. And it hurt me to the core that people were talking about numbers of cases and comparing a country that might have 100,000 citizens to countries that had billions of citizens and hundreds of millions of citizens, right? And so that was my focus. And eventually, as the year went on, things changed. But I do want you to think about the worst part of COVID. And that's when things were isolated. They were asking you to isolate from your own family. You weren't allowed to leave your homes. You weren't allowed to leave your apartments. You couldn't go anywhere. And people were cut off. Mária had a beautiful dashboard, and it was beautiful. Mária is great at visualization. And as you see some of the things she's going to show you today, they're pretty outstanding visually. But the key thing that caught my eye was just a whole fourth of the screen. Now, you think about how important real estate is in analytics apps. 1/4 of the screen was just a giant gray rectangle. And I was like, I wonder if that was a placeholder. But as I watched Mária's video and she talked about the other things, she got down to that. And the purpose of that giant gray rectangle was to show all the people in the world that did not have COVID. She was not trying to pitch the fact that COVID wasn't real. That wasn't it at all. She was trying to pitch and help people realize there are still a lot of people in the world that you are connected to and that you do not have to feel alone. And I thought that was so genius, such a vision to try to help people out of what was the darkest place in a lot of people's lives to that point, that feeling of loneliness, because as humans, we're meant to be connected. And since that day, Mária has just become such a great friend. If you remember, one of the things we talked about last time, Mária, was I had you show me the Inphinity Form. It was a flow diagram for process control, and there were lots of different processes, but I don't work with processes much. But what I did,
everything you do is a process in the end, right? So
in the end, yes. And I came to that realization a little bit slow, because you're a bigger dreamer than I am, Mária. You've got a vision of things that kind of puts things in a nutshell. And what I came to, what I thought was a beautiful use case for this, I'd love to show you, because I'm going to show you how creative I am with this flow. And I was asked by our friends at Snowflake They were creating new things they called query performance statistics. And as a DBA, I was like, yes, you're going to let me see the entire flow of how queries are done. Now, I know that you know SQL and you've worked with data for a long time. There's a lot of people, this is crazy. They think you just pass a select clause and instantly you get the data back, right? They don't think about the fact that there's actually a plan that's put together and some of it goes off in parallel. It's not a just ask for it, get it. There's a whole black box in there, and those are performance plans. And with many systems, you can ask for those plans up front. If I were to pass this to you, what are you going to do? And one of the worst things as a DBA or query designer was seeing a table scan out there. You don't want to see a table scan. You want to know I'm using an index to get those values, or you're talking about great amounts of time. Well, they created several different things to try to help people understand, hey, there is a lot more going on here than just asking for it and getting it. And they could return that data. And it was a nice big JSON block of data that had every technical detail in it. And so what we did was we created some crazy use cases, and these were intentionally bad. So when you see some of these times I'm going to show, don't think this was normal. We intentionally created stuff to make bad ones to show how this thing would work. And so when I visualize the data like this, I would say, what? That query took 7 hours and 17 minutes, and it spilled 4 trillion bytes of data to disk? What in the world happened? Well, then I need to see that query plan. And what I was able to do, instead of looks like, I could show JSON. I could maybe color code things with JSON. I could show some bar charts of this part of it took this long and there were this many joins, and I can show bar charts, or I could show pie charts of which things took the longest. But I thought, man, I've got this beautiful extension that shows the flow and can handle parallel processing for my flow. Now, if you think this query was bad, there was another query that we had that was ridiculous. It was 13 hours and did everything that they wanted to show perfectly wrong. And so what I loved about this was that this flow control that you guys have, this process, could be used to show query performance and what the flow was. And then I could color code these nodes to say, here's the problem, here's the problem, here's the problem, here's the problem. And I could call those things out. Even more important to me was you give these visual icons. And so I was able to use these things visually to try to draw people's attention to right to what I knew they would be looking for. I knew they would be looking for joins. I knew they would be looking at table scans. I knew they would be using sorts or things that came out wrong. What I also loved was the fact that it's completely configurable to this text that you had. Your objects, yes, if I only needed this much space, would take that much space. But if I wanted to show more space, it would take more space. And if I wanted to show something like the actual query, it could show me that query and show me where the join was, the join part of the query. And it would make these things as wide and configurable as I wanted. So when I got done with this, Maria, I got to tell you, I patted myself on the back and I thought, man, the world cannot possibly get any better than this with the flow. And then you guys went off and started dreaming again. I saw these little teasers on LinkedIn. Well, what if we could draw that flow on the fly through a wizard and let people actually precisely lay these things out? I was like, no way, come on. That's not possible. And I thought, oh, this is just a tease. They're teasing me. And then I kept seeing post after post. And like within a day, I saw like a little video snippet. And I said to myself, when that stuff is GA, I've got to have my friend Maria back on. So, Maria, it is a pleasure to have you back on. And I'll stop patting myself on the back for my beautiful use of flow right now.
Feel free to keep doing so. I will also do that if I were near you.
I appreciate that. So I would love for you to share a little bit more about that flow control and you guys' idea of process, because I do love that the world is about processes, right? We're automating process, we're mining processes, we're writing books on processes again. And so that's something I did way early in my career. That was a whole thing. Everything about processes kind of went away for a while because we started having computers. Everything was much faster. Who cares what the process is? It'll be done like that. We're taking that stuff a lot more seriously now, aren't we? And so I would love for you to show everyone a few demos of ways that you use the flow. And specifically, why don't we start with, I want to create a process flow on the fly. I want to draw it out. How does that happen?
So I think you are a manager, right? When you want to draw a process and share it with your colleagues, maybe also ask a developer to connect it to some of your data you already have, and have KPIs. But let's start with the process itself. So I'll share my screen. Please let me know when you can see it.
Okay. I see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So there is no flow here, right? What you see
I
here?
don't see one. I see a green. I see your green mouse icon.
So yeah, what you have here is some dummy data I prepared for demonstration of drawing your own process. So this is a very traditional way how to see your data about leads, opportunities, customers, loss. So obviously, since we are in Qlik, there are the selections and everything works well, but still you don't have the context. You have 4 different KPIs near each other and no relations between them.
Nope.
The way how you can change that is to create your own process and define the relations. So you can find this new add-on to our portfolio, Inphinity Flow Wizard, under the Custom Objects section, Infinity Bundle, and here it is, Flow Wizard. So as with any other Qlik object, I'll drag and drop it on my sheet. And here it is. With the menu, I can use to define my pixel perfect process. So very intuitively.
Pixel perfect process, 3 Ps.
Sounds great. Okay. So I just very intuitively click on the plus button to add a new node here. And as you can see, I can move it all around wherever I want. And also define its properties. So you may or may not use all of the options you have here. But as a manager, I think you definitely have no problem to define a label saying, okay, the process starts with the leads.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right? Then let's create another node that's called opportunities. Another one, obviously, customers, and then losses.
Okay.
Before I create the last one, you will see why I don't do that right now. I will show you the other button you have here, and that's a palette. So this is the list of design options I have available right when I import this extension to my Qlik Sense environment. Obviously,
and those options can get bigger if I add more things, right? Okay.
Exactly. We never want to limit our users. So if you want to define your own colors or icons, it's totally up to you.
Which I did in mine. I added all different icons for every type of statistic they would report in Snowflake.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so leads can be obviously the start. Do you see it? I have this lead node
I
there.
saw that. I saw that change instantly. Yep.
Exactly. The same we can do with the opportunities. It can be activity. For customers, it might be, I don't know, connector, because there is a whole new relationship starting.
Okay. Yeah. Because customers, the leads belong to customers and opportunities belong. Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, when it comes to losses, let's use this way, this design type of the node that's called AND.
Okay.
It makes sense intuitively as well. So also you can drag and drop this node from the palette.
Okay.
So instead of using this plus and changing it this way, you can do it easily. Let me change the label to what we lost. And as I mentioned, what's important is the relations between those steps of the process.
Okay.
Because if you have KPIs shown this way, it seems like it's linear, but that's not true. Because opportunity can become from a lead, but when it comes to opportunities, it can be a customer or become a customer, or it can be our loss.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty easy, right? So this is the way how I define the relations.
Yep.
And yeah, what do you miss now here? You have relations, you have the labels, the names of the KPIs. So yeah, I miss the KPIs itself. And since we are in Qlik, and at Infinity, we build Qlik native extensions, not only for end users, but also for developers. Obviously, all you need is in the properties panel. So you can play with the other parameters. Yes, you see alignment, size of text, and things like that. But what I want to show you right now is this measure. And obviously, the measure can be defined by expression. So that means the data can come from a data model.
So you just let me use a native Qlik expression to go get any data I want.
Yeah. So I draw my process, and I want to say, show me the number of leads we currently have, or we have, right? So the same way as I would do when I define KPI or diamond or measure in a table, it's count lead, and here it is. The same KPI as I see here. So doing the same for the rest. Obviously, this is demo for developers, so they can very quickly read. Those expressions and details, this functionality.
Good for you thinking through how to do a live demo without having to remember the name. Now, if I click on that FX, can I get into the expression to be able to see fields and master measures?
Oh yeah. Sorry. I didn't show that, but yes, it works the very same way. It's the same component that Qlik object uses.
So if you didn't make it easy by having that in the title, you would be able to do the same normal thing you would be able to do. Right. And if you wanted to refer to a master measure, you could refer to the master measure, yada, yada, yada.
Also variables that can be very, very helpful in many cases.
You're just using the native Qlik expression editor.
Exactly.
Beautiful. I love this because in the version I had to kind of create my data model to say, hey, here's a parent node, here's a child node, here's the parent, here's the child, blah, 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 blah. Get everything perfect in my data model, and then try to visualize it. If I didn't get my data model right, then my visual was wrong. I love this, that you can lay it out ahead of time. But if you want to refer to things in multiple disparate tables, I could refer to things anywhere along my associative model, right?
Yeah. So when I make collections now and select, for example, region, all the KPIs are recalculated. So it
Nice.
behaves the very same way as any other Qlik object because it's Qlik native object.
Yep.
And actually, when you mentioned this comparison between the flow that's automatically generated and this one that I can design by myself, I think that there are space and use cases for both of them. Because when you already have processes in place and you have multiple, for example, systems integrated, they most often generate generate logs, how they communicate, what data is created, and things like that. So if you want to understand that kind of a process, you don't want a manager to draw it because there is a high probability it won't be the real process.
Right.
So if you want to see how the process works in real life, you can do that automatically. And that's exactly the way how the original Infinity Flow works. So if I may very quickly show this application called Process Intelligence, that's how I like to call this kind of analysis of the processes, including the understanding, identifying bottlenecks with the aim to optimize the processes. It's not intelligence like business intelligence, process intelligence, and they are tied together.
Nice. And now that looks like the process people would be familiar with.
Yeah.
Here.
They are familiar with it.
Yep.
But
you're not limited. Like these can be real process maps.
Actually, this one is a defined process. Yeah, it's
this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's like when you ask a manager to draw a process like I did in a previous application.
Okay.
It might look like that. Okay, it starts here and there are two ends of the process and there are some loops inside the process.
Okay.
All the lines completely make sense inside the process. Yeah, there is a question, so yes, no, and things like that.
Yep.
The other option I have here is to see the real process that could be generated by using the logs. Yeah, I mentioned, so that's the show me what really happens in my systems.
Nice.
And you see that there are new lines shown here that no one would assume happen inside the process.
Yeah, we didn't think that would happen. In our mind, it wasn't supposed to happen because we're just living in this pie in the dream that everything's just going to happen the first time through.
Yeah, so like, for example, why would a ticket in stage validity check be changed to a stage validity check?
Right.
Or when a ticket is or has been closed, it shouldn't be reopened.
Nope.
And when I click here, I can deep dive into the sub-process on this and see, okay, there were two tickets that were reopened. The first one is this one, and the second one went to this process step. So.
Now back up 1 second, because that's really neat. So go back and unselect step 5 there. So these process diagrams, not only is it visual, you can actually interact with that and make the selection from the process. I know you're like, yeah, of course you can.
That's what I would ask you.
That's because you dream big, right? That's most people are looking, oh man, this is a pretty way to visualize this. This is a way to work with it, not just visualize it. And so what you did was you clicked on that step and narrowed down that selection. So you click in the little icon part there.
Yeah, as you see, it's also visually different when I hover my mouse over it. So it's even more intuitive for users. They can click on it.
Okay. And so
when
now
I click on it,
you said, hey, I want to focus on things that go from step 5.
Yeah, and I want to be focused on deviations only, the way how I did it, but obviously it's up to developers because everything is coming from a data model and all the properties and what is shown is defined in the properties panel by expressions. So it's up to you what should happen.
Okay.
So here I see those two deviations from the real process. And yeah, I can again click on the end of the line. So I selected the process between step 5 and step 4 that
Okay.
I want to analyze, that I want my colleague to let know about it, to check whether it's okay is happening in the system.
Okay.
Or fix it if it's not okay, obviously.
Now, and
Maybe save some time.
so what I heard you say was you found something that was a derivation from the process, a deviation, and you want a colleague to do something. So you're going to leave Qlik and you're going to go open up some other system where you're going to put a message to that other person, right?
Why would you do that?
I don't know, but that's a lot of the world, Maria. They
Yeah,
they find things in analysis and they have to leave Qlik to go do their work in something else.
that's
And
exactly what we don't want to see.
I love that about you because you guys are dreaming big. Like it seems simple, but the fact that you have that relationship here and that now I can see my process flow, I can find the deviations, and I can use this looks like your form on the right side there. You can actually take action on what you're seeing wrong in the process, and narrow it down to items and then go do something, record action about those, right?
Yeah, and there are
Crazy cool.
different types of actions you could do, right? Again, it's totally up to developer what they will integrate in the application. So this one is the editable table. So as you see, we narrowed it down to the one ticket or one
Yep.
process step. But you can mark or unmark it,
Okay.
and this way, when I clear the selection, it's pretty obvious what
Yep.
a guy from controlling or from IT should check
Should
here.
do. Yep. You can find
Going through
those.
all of them might be a bit of time-consuming thing.
Okay.
Another thing you could do is that you could use different type of field to define the action. And it's
Sure.
pretty simple because, as I mentioned, it's Qlik native for developers as well.
Okay.
So you just go to the properties panel, and in the form configuration section, you scroll down and see here the button Add Field.
Okay.
And when you click Add Field, a new field is created right here on the fly. So you just need to define the column name. That's
Yep.
the technical name, how the data will be stored in the data storage.
Right.
And label is what the user sees.
Okay.
For the demonstration purposes, obviously it could be the same.
Yep.
But when you connect to already existing databases, like for example, some of the SAP tables,
Right. Yeah.
the column name is something that even end users can't understand.
5-character German shorthand. You better
Yeah.
believe it. Yay.
Yeah. So this is a
Oh
very simple
yeah.
way how you can create your own editable field in seconds.
Yep.
And there are multiple field types available. So obviously the default one is text. So you can just write down the action that should be done.
Love it.
And yeah, I have here the button that saves the data and triggers the reload of the application.
Yep.
But in this case, since I just want to save the node, I can show the save button to end users. So here in the appearance section, button visibility, I just enable the save button.
Okay.
And very important to understand when working with Inphinity Forms is to know the difference between the save and apply or recalculate or update or however it will be called. Because Inphinity Forms is very unique when it comes to its write-back capabilities and how it communicates with the data in the data storage, because you can hit the save button without reloading the application.
Right.
And the data you just saved will be immediately available to any user who works with the application, who opens the application. So you don't need to reload the application every single time you want to see the data.
Yep.
See the manual inputs. Obviously, if I want to have this data in a data model, I can trigger the reload of the application. And in the load script, I would use the data storage the same way as I would do with any other data storage for
Yep.
Qlik.
Very cool. Very cool. That's neat to be able to see that change so easily. So that as I'm working on it, if I'm in a work group meeting and we're sitting in the conference room together trying, hey, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And somebody says, we also need this piece of information. That was like a 1-minute process for you to add the other piece of information, and
yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of WYSIWYG because you see it right there and you can play with it right then.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. Yep. So you don't need to wait for IT define someone what should they add to the editable table. If you already know what you need, you can easily click it. You don't need to go to any expression editors or things like that. As you saw, it's like really a few clicks. Add field button, column name, and label. That's all what you need for text. And for the other fields, you just switch to a different field type.
And I like the way you have what's going to be in the real storage, because certain systems do have requirements. They will not let certain characters in, or they want it all uppercase, or they might want it all lowercase. Whatever those restrictions are, you can meet those restrictions, but make it user friendly.
Yeah, because we don't develop product just for marketing purposes. Like it would be really cool if you just define one thing, but in real life and working with real databases, this is what is needed. So you have it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's where some things break down. So
yeah,
fantastic. And I like the way, and I think later you're going to show me even more interaction between the two.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, but this is a great use case of both things really working together for that specific use case. So what are some of the other use cases you guys already have, or your customers are already using this flow wizard to be able to create? Because I could think of several things that would be really nice for this flow.
Okay, but we will come back to Inphinity Forms, right?
Because we'll definitely come back, and I've got my use case to show you and say, wow, best use case ever. Just in case there's ever a prize for best use case ever. I want to show you mine so that maybe I'll win.
Now I can't wait. But okay, before we go to that, yeah, I'll definitely love to show you some other use cases for Inphinity Flow, and similarly for Inphinity Flow Wizard. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So so let's go to this document approval application. We will come back to that later because of this Inphinity Forms object and those words here. But it's just a teaser.
Oh man. Okay.
In this step of the demonstration of Inphinity Flow, I want you to focus on the left side.
Okay.
On the left side of the sheet. And in this case, you see document approval process.
Right.
So we already had a sales process showing KPIs. We already had the process automatically generated from logs. It might be about connected systems and how processes already works in your company. With the goal to identify bottlenecks and optimize them. In this case, this is like navigation throughout the process, because document approval is something that's happening in almost all the companies.
Yep.
And especially in a bit larger companies, it has a lot of steps in between. Yeah, so this is a demo application, but I'm pretty sure managers can imagine even more complex processes for document approvals. But in this case, whenever I select a specific file, I see where this file is in the process.
Wow. So visually, you could change the colors on demand. So that you
Exactly.
can show I've been this far in the process for that document.
Exactly. For document number 4, as you see, there are some checks, and this is in progress step.
Yep.
So when you select document number 4, you see it highlighted, right? So
It
this
has
is
started. Nice. Nice.
this is
And
historical data.
yep.
How
And so thinking back to the call center stuff for trouble tickets, you could have implemented that same thing. This ticket has been out here for 100 days. A customer's on the phone with me as a manager complaining. I could see it and then visually see what steps it's been through.
exactly.
Very cool. So I like that. I love that integration back of using the colors visually to let you know the progress. So it's like a progress bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Actually, that's a quite nice comparison.
Yep.
Also, you may notice that there is a tooltip showing additional information.
Yep.
So it's about something I like to use when I create those dashboards you mentioned, because and especially being a mom, I see the importance of focus management.
Yep.
So it's similar. I think it's similar to end users as well as to babies. That if there is too much going on, you won't be focused on anything. You will get lost, and you
Right.
will just click here and go off saying,
Yeah.
"I didn't have time to go through the data,"
Yep.
because you got lost, you got scared.
Yep.
So what you need to see on the sheet is just the most important information, and you should be able to deep dive when some piece of the information is interesting for you.
Yep.
Yeah. So like in this case, I need to know what exactly is checked in this step. I don't need to go inside the step. Yeah, I can see it here in the tooltip.
Okay. Yep.
But everything will be written here. This
Yep.
flow become a bit big or larger, and yeah, might be too overwhelming for end users.
For sure. And that was the one of the things I did not show because I wanted to get, I didn't want to talk for a whole hour or something and not let you talk. In my Snowflake query stats, I did the same thing because each node can have customized tooltip help.
Yeah,
So if you hover over invoice, it can show you different expressions than if you hover over fact checks, than if you hover over finance checks. Yep.
exactly. In
Nice.
this case, it's pretty simple, like pick match, and not for specific node IDs.
Yep.
But yeah, again, it's up to developers how they will use Qlik Magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could also contain information coming from data models. So you could also show measures and KPIs
Yep.
in the tool as an additional information.
Nice. Very cool.
Okay, but having two extensions, now two extensions, Inphinity Flow and Inphinity Flow Wizard, consisting of two elements, nodes and lines.
Right.
Obviously, those started in processes, but you could be creative and define different types of visualizations than just processes.
Yep.
So let me come back to this application when we draw our process. As you see here are multiple examples of how it can be used. This is also one of the applications that's publicly available at our Infinity portal, demo.myinfinity.com. So if someone is interested, they can come here, search for superpowers of Infinity Flow,
Yep.
open the application here, and
they can actually get hands-on and play with it and
yeah,
see how it works and how you interact with it live.
I just didn't want to forget to mention that.
Good thinking. Because usually
Yeah.
I would have had a slide ready that showed like a site to go to, and I didn't. So great job. Okay.
Thanks. Okay, so here are some other examples, yeah, of the processes, but it's about processes.
Nice.
Let's
Okay.
go somewhere else.
And so that was you went through that pretty quick, but I go back
Sorry.
there because I think that was important. You're dynamically actually showing the process. So you had a bonus process, and so you might have multiple processes as part in the system,
Yeah,
and then there's multiple flows, and you're dynamically choosing which process and flow you want to see at the time.
exactly. Because
Nice.
this is the extension that automatically generates the process based on a data coming from a data model.
Yeah.
So you can imagine it as a large table with the
Yeah.
definitions of all these processes.
Nice.
So since it's Qlik native, the same way as I make selections here, I just select the subset of this table of the
Nice.
definition, and it
Nice.
shows me different processes.
Nice. And so again, on the concept of dreaming big, you're using Qlik's associative engine behind the scene to say, hey,
Yeah.
you don't have to have 25 different flows if you've got 25 different processes. Just use Qlik for what Qlik does. And then I can go from that really simple bonus case. I hope you're watching, Hugo. And my line comes out, yes. To a really complicated process that's big. And like I was showing, you can zoom in, zoom out as you need to. So if you're working in a complicated process, you can make selections elsewhere to narrow down where you want to be, or you can just zoom in and zoom out, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Let
Okay.
me update it a bit because actually this has been created 2 years ago or things like that. And since then, there are many new features, like, for example, this minimap. So again, we are in a properties funnel where everything happens.
Yeah.
So I can enable minimap. And now when I zoom in a more complex
Wow.
processes, I will never get lost.
So
I can
just like
still see
normal
where
Qlik
I'm.
extensions that can do the mini scrolls and the
Yeah,
mini scatter plot map, you would
because
know where you're
context
at
is the
in the
king.
whole process. Not nice add-on. Nice add-on. I need to talk to you like every week, Maria. You just keep cranking stuff
Obviously.
out that I don't even know about.
Actually, I did simple research recently, wrapping up the last year, and I realized that last year, as well as the year before, we have released around 100 new features and improvements in our product. So each year, it was 100 new things,
Wow.
new features and improvements. So yeah, that's why we really try to create great enablement materials as well as what's new videos when there is a new release to be sure that the most important things will be seen.
Nice. And I do get to watch most of those on LinkedIn because you post very quick snippets. Unlike my Dork Cast, where we're just talk till the cows come home. You post quick snippets to just show the new features, and then
Yeah.
people can go out to the demo site, see longer videos, see the actual app. Very cool. All right. So what other kind of use case might I have for like the Flow Wizard?
For the flow wizard, it could be a pricing simulation. Actually, this one is generated automatically, but it doesn't matter in this case because you could define it manually as well.
Yep.
So yeah, when you have any kind of calculation, it might be a black box. Very
Okay.
often it's a black box, yeah, be honest.
Yep.
So if you want to simulate a new price, you need to understand, or you should understand, the decomposition of how it's calculated.
Yep.
So this way I can play with the Qlik variables, obviously, to define the changes in the
Okay.
input for the price calculation and see their impact not only on the final price, but throughout the calculation process as
He's
well.
right. Yep.
So even decomposition of calculations is a great use case for Inphinity Flow, and not only for internal use cases, but also for audits, right? They are looking for information, whether you have some processes and some calculations documented. So this might be
Nice.
the best place.
Nice. Yep.
And it's interactive since we are in Qlik.
Very cool. Yeah. And it's just another great use case of how visualization makes
Sorry,
things
I
easier
was
to
too quick.
see and digest in a spreadsheet that would have all that same kind of stuff. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
There already was a teaser for another one. And the idea for this creative implementation of Inphinity Flow was coming from my colleague who told me, Maria, you were showing Inphinity Flow to us. Do you know that time flows too? Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Let's create a
Nice.
calendar.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you need to just pick some dates in a calendar, there are other Qlik visualizations you could use for that. So you won't use this much space in the application. But if you want to see, for example, how your KPIs are doing across the time, you could again play with the color definition of the nodes.
Okay.
And see that, okay, this day it was going lower and this day it was going about the daily target. And you see it just like that here. So when you are a manager and opens the application, again, the same way as you did in your visualization, you have the issues highlighted. You don't need to spend time on investigating what you should be focused on. You have it right here on the plate.
And what I love about that is normally there may be dots on the line chart, and I got to hover my mouse at exactly the right thing to see. What day was that was under my line? What day was that was way under my line, and I got to hover. This way, I can see the line. Hey, we're hitting, we're not hitting, we're all over the place. This isn't a well-defined. This process isn't going smoothly, but I can immediately see the ones that are bad, and I can immediately have my attention drawn to the red. I see 9.6, I see 9.9, I see 9.20, or I see there's a whole week that is bad. Like in this case where I'm looking at week 39, and I can see a lot of that week was bad. Hey, maybe we're having our sales kickoff and nobody was answering their phone that week.
Actually, that's a really nice use case. It's exactly a use case for a different type of actionability where you would click on this button and you might be able to enter some data, enter your context because you have the information that others might not have. It's not done in this demo application. I will probably do it after the call.
But that would be where, hey, I want to put my comments, because when people see this in the future, I want to be able to know, hey, we were at sales kickoff that week. That's why this is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And in the other application, in the other use case, I will show you how this editable table or form can pop up from Infinity Flow.
Nice.
Here,
And that's a great call out, because what we saw before was you do a selection, but what you're seeing is the action that you take when you click can actually be definable as well.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, there are many types of actions.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So if I create a new one, there is a field category that helps you navigate through all the actions.
Wow. Okay.
Because this is the full list of what can be done.
And so you've got this. Qlik has actions. You actually have more actions in that list than what Qlik has.
We support all of the Qlik actions, and we edit multiple of ours.
Wow. So I could pop up a master visualization, like if I wanted to see a chart. I wanted to see a bar chart breakdown of salespeople by day.
Exactly. You can go to a sheet, you can be navigated, you can open a story. Yeah. You can trigger reload, set variable value.
Wow.
And some other actions for developers looking at Infinity Seal. Actually, I have a really nice demo ready to be shown here for this use case if you will be interested.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, but the focus management is important.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's
yeah,
stay
yeah.
focused on Infinity
Yeah,
Flow right
but so
now.
and so this was a good time to see that. And so you could have certain, and what I saw, you could have certain actions for the week button versus and different from the daily button.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
because for every single action, you define a condition for which button it should happen,
Nice,
for which
nice.
node, sorry,
Yep.
it should happen. So
Very
again,
cool.
definable by expression, so
Just a
pure
Qlik
creativity of
expression.
development.
Yeah, it's so just so Qlik native.
Yeah.
And just extending the use cases and keeping people in the analytics longer than close out, get a screenshot, send an email with the screenshot. Very
I
cool.
wouldn't say keeping them in analytics longer. I would say keeping them with their data longer. Yeah, because
Yes.
this is where their data is, so they don't need to do any export and
Yep.
duplicate the data and I don't know, send some sensitive information in an email as an attachment. It's security risk, right? So
Yep.
if you already have a data in Qlik,
Yeah.
why you would leave the Qlik if you want to communicate, discuss about the data, do actions about the data?
Yep. And that really brings up a good point. That's I think I, like so many others, um, think of Qlik as the analytics tool.
Not
Um,
anymore.
and with what you guys and what Inform have done and what others have done for
What Qlik
capturing
does,
things,
yeah.
it's not a visualization tool. It's not just an analytics tool. You said it great. I'm going to steal that probably from now on. I may or may not give you credit in the future.
No
But
problem. I will note where it's coming from, so it will
right,
make me proud.
it is really with what you guys provide and what others provide. It crosses with what CRM systems are and what ERMs are and what planning tools are.
Yeah.
You're seeing data and capturing data, and you're giving people a chance to work with their data, right? And as Qlik rebrands itself this week, between new logos and a new thing, trying to help people understand, look, this is much more than a visualization tool. We now move the data, right? We're moving the data. We're letting you build data
Excellent.
for AI, and we're cleansing data, and we're fixing quality problems. We let you handle your data because that's what companies need.
There
And,
is a really nice message on the new Qlik's homepage.
yep,
Wherever there's data, there's Qlik.
yep.
And I would say wherever there's Qlik, there should be Infinity. So people stay with the data
Nice, yeah, because yeah,
when
this
when
it's just
they yeah, act, make decisions,
the
say their
marketing
own.
people have to figure out, how do you explain to someone, even people like analysts at Gartner, how do you explain to them this is a cross between CRM systems and other types of data capturing systems and visualization and data movement and data transformation. Like there's no terms for those things other than wherever there's data, there's Qlik. Yeah, it's hard to say. All right,
Very,
let's
very good.
get back on track. Show me some
Okay.
other
Yeah,
creative
I have
for
I
that.
have three more, but we can go through it very quickly because I see it's already yeah, quite time.
Yep.
Uh, so another way how you can creatively use Infinity Flow is the diagram, another diagram that consists of nodes and lines, and that's network chart.
Okay.
So what I have here, and some people who are watching the video and reading what's on my screen already know, it's a
Yep.
Qlik architecture.
Nice.
So again, it might not be a simple process as you think about processes.
Right.
It's a network diagram you can design. And this is a really, really nice use case for Infinity Flow Wizard. So a developer come here and
Yep.
yeah, define the scheduler and the relation between the servers and whatever there is need to add. So
So if I had like an administrative space, where I'm doing all my enterprise management and governance utilities that I may have in apps. I can actually use this and create documentation as well to just keep in those apps.
Exactly.
I imagine you could, I mean, you could design anything, right? If you're drawing it in some drawing tool, Qlik is the Qlik plus Flow is now your drawing tool.
Yeah, actually, I designed a Christmas card as well, but I'm not sure where the application is right now.
Oh,
But
that's neat.
I'll share
That's
with you later. So very, very quickly, yeah, another thing that is my favorite creative use case for Infinity Flow right now is floor plan,
okay.
because it definitely is not a process.
Nope.
It doesn't need lines, so it can be designed just by using nodes.
Okay.
But
Yep.
thanks to this option to design things in a pixel perfect way, you
Yep.
can easily design the floor plan
And
without
if one of those
knowing
is
what
double
KML.
wide or quadruple wide, you can make it whatever size you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Nice.
And again, that's something that's clear to me, but it's important to share the message.
Yep.
All the things that are here, all the things are defined by expressions. Yeah,
Yep.
so the label could be defined by expression coming from a data model. Measure that you see here is coming from a data model, so it responds to selections.
And
When
I
I select
imagine that if I
color,
had, you know, I'm looking at this stacked up and down, like it might be a warehouse. So those things could be shelves in a row, and I can make as many rows as I want. I could have a selection that says row one, row two, row three, row four, row five,
yeah,
and then I could be using these to show supplies, right? Where
right.
maybe it's red if I'm down to under a certain number, you know. But I could visualize my warehouse this way.
Yeah, and whenever something is full, you can define the maximum capacity.
Nice.
So again, where there is issue, it's quite clear that
Yeah.
there is an issue. You don't
Yep.
need to
Yeah.
investigate whether there is an issue somewhere.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's a great use case. I'm glad I called this dream big because you're dreaming of use cases where visualization really speeds things up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so
All right. So if you stop sharing for a second,
okay, okay, your turn.
yeah, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you my super cool forms use case. And so, and I kind of got to it with warehousing and supplies. We have a demo that we do around the world that showcases how we can move data from SAP into cloud warehousing solutions like Snowflake and Google and Databricks and Microsoft. And then we've got an app that shows it all. A traditional analytics app, right?
Yeah,
And so you can walk through and find, hey, where are we late? What warehouses are shipping stuff late? Yada, yada, yada. And it comes down to, hey, this item is being shipped late like 80% of the time, if I remember what the use case showed. And then I need to see who are the vendors. Like, why are we shipping this late from all of our warehouses? Well, why are these distribution centers always late? And it came down to it wasn't the warehouse problem, it was a vendor problem. And so visualizations are striking that if I look at percentage of late, I could see that Acme's late, Pie in the Sky is late 27% of the time, Widgets R Us are late 9.3, but visualizing it changes the game. Because Acme, in this distribution plot, I can see every one of the orders. The red ones are ones that they're late. And so I can see that they're just late a lot. It's just a lot, right? This vendor's just not working out. This is just not happening, right? This vendor is late, that percentage-wise might not get flagged in any alerts. If I looked in a spreadsheet, that may not seem like that much. But visually, my human analyst can augment that and say, wait a second, it seems like it's only the large orders that they're late on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might want to find out what is going on with that vendor. Why can they get us 800 or 900 items late, on time or early even, but they're late on large orders? And it may have something to do with the fact it might be a mom and pop shop, right? They're just it's you and your husband and your baby stocking items together, right? And you only work so many hours a day. Then you're like, hey, it's time to go home. I'll finish that order tomorrow, right? And so I might need to obtain information from that vendor, and depending how important that vendor is to me, I may care more or less. And so what I needed to be able to do then was say, hey, we need to go beyond getting insights into capturing the insights and taking action on the insight, right? So I could capture this here. Hey, I think we need to ask the vendor why they're having issues, what we might be able to do to help them because they're a good vendor to us. Their pricing has always remained stable. They've been with us forever. They're committed to, climate sustainability along with us. They're an
Their
important
support
partner,
communicates.
right? What can we do to figure this problem out as a partner with this vendor, right? Well, great. I capture the comment and then nothing gets done, right? Like, woohoo, right? Capturing the comment alone is a game changer because anybody else coming in would say, hey, Dalton has already dug through and analyzed pie in the sky, thinks actions need to be taken. Yay. Right? What I loved was that your save, when you gave me that chance to save the data, I didn't just have to save my comments because you guys went the extra step, as I shared in a video last year, of saying when we save it, we want to be able to integrate with Qlik app automation. And what I was able to do with the app automation then was go out and create a ServiceNow incident and create an SAP Ariba confirmation ticket. So the right teams had my insights and had my thoughts to actually act on it. When you mentioned that, hey, you can save this and you don't have to reload the data model. What's even cooler is that not only did you give me the APIs to call my app automation, within my automation, I was able to say, ooh, I got this ServiceNow number, and you give me an API to put the data back out to your storage. And so I created these fields. Those are read-only fields that I added to my form, and I can interact with them any way I want, and the data just came back. So it's not just capture Dalton's comments. It was go do something in the process, like notify the right people. And by the way, I wanted to capture, it was already done. So now it's not, well, gosh, that comment was made a week ago. Somebody probably went and did it. It's here's the incident numbers. And if I wanted to, I could have had links where I just click those and go see the rest of the details now. Right. So that's my submission for the coolest possible use case for forms.
Do this on your shoulder.
Oh yeah. I'll do both too while I'm there. So that was what I thought was really even the next step, right? Capturing information was fantastic, but that ability to take action from the form that you gave us, I think was a huge game changer. And it really fits your whole, it's a process here. Well, those things, there's actions that have to be taken at those steps. and you give the developers, the designers for the app, the ability not only to capture comments, you're not just putting comments in, you're using those to take action, and you're passing those comments on any way that app automation sees fit, which I love. So I would love to see more. I know that wasn't the end of the world. You guys, like you said, you did over 100 improvements. I would love to see what some of the improvements were even beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you can share your screen again now.
Before I would do it, I just want one
Okay.
thought to your awesome use case is, and your thoughts around the importance of actionability is that the best visualization in the world is not a solution if you don't act on it. If you don't act on the
Yep.
information you could find in it. So yeah, that's exactly the way how we think about it, and that's also the reason why we are not only developing the right big extension, but we are thinking about how our products could help in this process intelligence and this actionability when you already are in Qlik, yeah, with your data.
Yep.
And the best example I can imagine right now, in the future, there might be another best example. But the favorite as of now is the application I already showed. So this is what you saw in the teaser in previous minutes. So please confirm you see my screen.
I see your screen, and yeah, it was interesting to me when I saw Facts Plus and finance and legal, and the things that you have in there, because those buttons, they look like buttons, which makes me think I can do something from those.
Exactly. So what you would assume probably is that if I should check facts, when I click on facts, you could approve, yeah, or
Right.
enter checks about a specific document. So yeah, let's go with the document number 2.
Okay.
I see that someone already did facts check. Yeah,
Yep.
so again, important information. When I select a specific document ID, as we shown before, I see it visually here as well.
Okay. Yep.
And now I click on finance because that's the next round of checks that should be done. And it opens a pop-up where I can enter the information that I checked the amount that's on the document. Yeah, this is the amount.
And
I
this is
checked.
your single record form.
Yes, this is the single record
So I can
form.
actually embed other forms in my form.
Exactly.
Man, it could be recursive.
I didn't try.
I'm teasing. Yeah. You're like, oh no, where's my end loop? Oh, I gotta have an end condition. No, I'm teasing. Yeah. So
I didn't
yeah,
try. I'm trying to make things simple for end users.
nice. So you can actually have multiple single forms that then you embed in a table form.
Exactly.
Very
And
cool. Okay.
instead of having a save button here, you see
Yep.
that there's a confirm button because that's what you would expect when you have things in pop-ups. Yeah,
Yep. Okay.
intuitively go there to click on OK, close, or
Right.
any confirmation. So it's here. And when I click confirm, the data is updated. In this case, it's defined in the way that application is reloaded. So all the data in a data model is updated, not only
Okay.
data I entered manually in my forms, but you see that document number 2 is now in finance in progress stage.
Okay.
So again, when
So
I
yeah, if
select
you
here,
filter to that, then finance is now yellow instead of gray. Okay.
exactly. And the reason why it's in this state of a process that is in progress, because I didn't click on the budget check. I didn't
Okay.
approve it. So it's still in progress. As you see, this is a visual indicator.
Yep.
So technically it's auto-calculated field type traffic light.
Nice.
So when I now confirm budget check,
Wow.
it's automatically green because all the checks that should be done here are now done.
Nice.
You don't need to reload the application. You don't need to save the data. It's automatically calculated based on my manual inputs.
Wow.
And it could be linked to also data from a data model or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
So when I now confirm this,
man, that is kicking it up a notch.
you see that the finance is now green. That yeah, these checks were done. And
Nice.
you might be thinking, okay, I need to check the document, but how should I know what's inside the document, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that with Inphinity Forms, you can upload the document and you can access already uploaded documents directly from the application.
What?
So, yeah, right?
Come on.
This is thing I'm very, very proud of. So I'm glad we have time, at least a few minutes
We've got
to
time. Yeah. I just gave us time. Yeah.
So now when I click on it,
Okay.
it's downloaded.
All right.
And I can open the document. In this case, it's a text file. So
Okay.
let's open the program I have for text
Right.
file.
Okay.
If it's, for example, a picture, again, it's downloaded. And based on the settings, okay, based on the settings in my Chrome, it can be open inside your internet browser, or it could be open internally in your computer.
Okay.
But this is the way how you can see the file without sending in via emails or saying it's saved somewhere on the server, please ask IT so you have access, and security issues like
okay. So it's kept with the app.
Yes, technically it's stored on your server. You have it fully under control. Administrator can define exactly where it should be stored.
Where it is. Okay.
But for end users, it's seamless. They don't need to care where it's stored technically. They can access it here, where the rest of the data is.
Nice.
And yeah, let me show you how you can upload new file, right?
Okay.
So in this demo application, I created the logic that you use this custom button. So it's another new thing in Inphinity Forms. You can define your own custom buttons here in a toolbar.
Okay.
I open a pop-up that doesn't contain Inphinity Forms. It contains Qlik variable, because you can open any Qlik object that's a master visualization. So this is nothing else than Qlik variable. I say I want to add one new file to generate. It pre-generates the ID, based on the logic that's being defined. Create a new row for me, and I can upload my document easily. The same way as you would do in every other program that supports it. So not in Qlik, because there is no such option.
There is no such option.
Forms, there is.
Nice. Okay.
And now when I say confirm, again, save just saves my data, like for example, description, but I want the data model to be reloaded. So I said confirm, it saves the data and update the data model, and it's ready to be checked by my colleagues. And as you may notice, what happened when I click on this text button, because that's another new feature, like you mentioned, those buttons on the row level. It doesn't just open the pop-up. It made a selection first. You noticed we were in a table. And when I click facts,
it makes the selection so that you're on the right one.
Yeah, so I'm on the right one. So that's, again, an example of a combination of multiple actions that you can define just under one button.
Nice.
Another way, or another nice use case how to use those buttons in a row is to show changelog. So many users are asking whether changelog is available, and from the very first version, we save the changelog for users because it's a requirement.
Because the whole world is compliance, compliance, compliance.
Exactly.
The legal department says, and you give me
Exactly.
that change log for every step. Okay.
Yeah, but in the end, what happens quite often is that there is a separate sheet with a large table, and sheet name changelog is here.
Yeah.
But again, for me, it's something that it isn't necessary to have a space on a sheet where the changelog is saved, right?
No, and I don't want to see the change log for every single thing altogether. I would
Exactly.
never find my invoice 11, my invoice.txt. Okay.
Exactly. So this button, make a selection, yeah, based on the row ID, based on document
Okay.
ID I have in my table, and opens a master visualization that's Qlik table,
Oh
but
my
it's already
goodness.
selected
Yeah.
because we are in Qlik. So
Yeah.
since the document number 1 was selected, this is the changelog only for document number 1. But in a Qlik data model, I do have a long table containing changelogs for all the documents that
I
you don't.
love this. And so I still, my head is spinning with the whole idea of I'm popping up kind of in a mobile pop-up any master visualization I want to create.
Exactly. That's focus management, I think, is
Yeah.
one of the most important things. Everyone's talking about AI and things like that, but what
Yeah.
we need alongside that, I'm not saying that it's not important to talk about AI, but
When I
you
share
really
the
need
video
the
links
real
with
role
this,
is
Maria,
focus
I'm definitely going to have to hashtag focus management. I think that's
management.
that you've got my head spinning as always.
I'm glad.
Nice. Okay. So we can see the change log. Now I'm really curious about that word cloud down there because you've been kind of teasing me this whole time.
Not yet, not yet. You need to
I gotta wait more. There's more
wait for
cool stuff.
2 more minutes.
Okay.
Because, yeah, when I opened this application, I mentioned that we keep thinking about how all our products together, with ClickSense, obviously,
Yep.
could make life of users easier, right? And optimize the processes and give them the option to act. So
Yep.
this is one way how
Oh boy.
some people can imagine how
Yep.
the process could work in real life.
Yep.
But
And
there
I
might
think
be some, yeah,
I think this app does a great job of showing this could be a very complex process made very simple with this form, the flow, being able to add documents, being able to bring up other parts of processes by embedding those things. You have all the compliance there. You've got a workflow there of this has to be done, then this has to be done, this has to be done. You can see where you are, and it's all very simple. I mean, that's a very simple screen for the complexity of the application that you're building there. Very, very cool.
it's yeah, thanks to the design of Infinity product alongside with the Qlik objects, because that's the
Yeah.
way how we want to
Yep.
yeah, develop them so it
Yeah, I
behaves
like
and
that you
looks
didn't
like
try to
Qlik.
reinvent the wheel of displaying your own charts or creating your own visuals. Just
Right.
hey, you call Qlik application automation for action. You implemented some of your own actions to extend, right? And yeah, that popping up those master visuals is legit.
Yeah. So let me show you some more actions that are available in both Infinity
Oh
Flow as
my,
well as Infinity
oh
Forms,
my
because most
gosh,
of
there's
the actions
more. Okay.
are everywhere. Yeah, actions are everywhere. uh, because I really like this table. Obviously, you like it as
Yep.
well, and hope that people watching this video like it as well. But there might be some other type of person, because yeah, you know, we are data people. Yeah, we
Yep.
love when things are structured, but there are
Yep.
also visual people that say that okay, this is awesome, this process is awesome, but oh, this is a table. and it becomes messy because there are 100 of rows, and then you will get lost and things like that. I won't get lost in a structured table, but you know what I mean, right?
I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason why I defined actions here directly in Inphinity Flow. So if a person like that opens this application and says, I'm responsible for, I don't know, let's say this use case for legal checks.
Okay.
I will click legal checks. I don't think about the rest of the sheet. That's not designed for me.
Okay.
I'm here and I'm responsible for legal checks. And this is another type of action.
Okay.
So pop up with a question.
With a question. Okay.
That's definable by developer. So
And then can you define the options coming back in buttons?
yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it's saying, please select one file to continue. I can make it a bit larger.
Okay.
Obviously, you can use Qlik custom theme to define the whole visual and font size and everything you want. So I can say not now, nothing happens. I change my mind and I want to deep dive into the table. But if I don't change my mind, I will say, okay, I will select one file to continue.
Okay.
So there is another pop-up. So it's a series of pop-ups that's helping me to go through what needs to be done.
Okay.
And since I was informed I need to select one file,
Right.
Here I see my options. There can be obviously also a description that please click in a field ID on the number of file you want to select or file name. Yeah, all the breadcrumbs could be here. So I can say, okay, this training document is the one. I'll confirm it. There's a Qlik table, this one. And I'll go next. And the legal checks
just pop
is
right
here
up
in a pop-up. So I didn't leave this series of pop-ups.
Right.
And it literally led me through the process. So I can say, okay, I checked that for this file and click confirm, and it does the very same as when you confirmed it in Inphinity Forms. You save the data, reload the application, and everything will be updated.
Incredible.
And obviously, since we are in Qlik, it all works together. So in my forms overview, I see that the legal checks has been finalized.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And now
now you finally tell me about these words.
Yeah. So let me go here, far away from the words.
Right.
Because obviously those words are linked to different action.
Okay.
That you can trigger either from Inphinity Flow or Inphinity Forms. But here is another custom button I defined for that.
Okay. Yeah.
And as it's saying, it's when I click here, new invoices will be uploaded to scan their content.
Okay. So we sent that mental health text document up.
Yeah. So there is the information that Inphinity Mole will be triggered. So it may
and so that's your other product. So you talked about that one last time.
Yeah.
It allows you to basically process your documents.
Yeah, that was before the last release.
Yep.
We extended that a bit.
I can't wait to see this. Okay.
Yeah, focus management.
Okay.
So I think it's important to inform the user that it might take a few minutes because you won't sit here and looking on the circle. But you might grab a coffee or just go for a 2 minutes walk.
Yep.
So you are informed. Now the files are analyzed. So the way how we started developing Inphinity Mole is that it collects all the information about the unstructured data and files of document. So one set of data is obviously metadata, the file name and last change date, created date, last modification date, owner, size, and things like that. The most interesting is what's inside the documents. Yeah, so all the words
Right.
that are in a document, because I read a really nice thought recently that very often the missing piece of information when you are analyzing your data is in unstructured data that companies don't use.
Yep.
So Infinity Mole literally reads every single word that's in a file. Here is some information that data cleaning isn't included in its application, but it's recommended in real life. And information that reload was successful.
Okay.
And now I can either select a specific
Let's do that.
file
Yep.
and see the content, see all the words that are in the file.
Okay.
But what I about that, additionally, what I think is great added value of that is the other way, and that's that you can search for a specific word throughout all your files. So when I want to say all the documents in my document approval application that mention training and make a selection, obviously, since we are using data coming from Qlik data model, you see only those files that contains the word training.
Right.
So it's like your internal Google search across the documents.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy cool. So that's a great use case of I think when we talked about Mole last time, the main use case was really for GDPR, and being able to, hey, show me every document that has Dalton Ruhr in it, because Dalton Ruhr is asked to be removed from the system. And so now you're kind of even taking that further, that I could see that, and I've got those words in there, right?
Yes, because as I said, just this file search or document search, or however we would call it, is, I think, a big step forward for many companies, especially if you know teams writing documentations, not knowing that there is already a documentation about the very same thing stored somewhere on the server, right?
Yep.
So this might really save time and save resources, literally save resources, when you find the existing documentation and just update it.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you are the one who wrote it, you probably know about it. But honestly, if it was 5 years ago, you might won't be able to find it where it's stored, or it might be a colleague who wrote it. And in that case, you will write it from the scratch. And that's a lot of time spent on that.
Yeah. I love it. And once I get the words in here, this was, I just recently, timing wise for this, is very cool. I just recently, I worked all last year with Linux Foundation's committee on AI and BI, and we focused on effective ways to visualize AI predictions. And my section that I really focused on was text analytics for that unstructured data.
Oh, cool.
So what I'm seeing already, like, I mean, I want to be able to take this document that we just got that has a whole bunch of customer survey information in it. You're going to process it through Mole for me. So I don't have to, as a Qlik developer, I don't have to write a PDF driver to read things. I'm not writing Python code to read PDFs or text files and
or
pull
images.
information.
Even images could be scanned by
Mole does that for me. You break that down on the fly as I'm adding the document. Then I could take that, pass that through one of our analytics connectors, to ask for sentiment on it. I could ask for emotional analysis on it because I've got the data in the app, right? You've given it to me through Mole.
The output of Infinity Mole, and thank you very much for pinpointing that it's important to show this, the data model for developers. The output is structured data. So Infinity Mole, as a file connector, literally make unstructured data structured for you, so it's ready for analysis. So you see that in this file, this word is on this specific position. If it's mentioned 3 times in the file, you know it's mentioned 3 times. And you will also get all the positions. So if you want, you can reconstruct the content of the file by yourself if it's needed.
Nice. And then I can even, within my team, we goof around every time we have a conversation. Add Gen AI to it. Add generative AI to it. Add generative AI to it. No, just in minutes now, I'm thinking I add the document, I use the mole to parse it. I can go do sentiment analysis with it, emotional analysis with it, any text stuff I want to with it, get those results back. Those results would come back to my data model as well. But I could also see that I could take that PDF, get the results back, and then go call some vector thing to create a vector for it that I'm going to put into a vector database. And I've now added that content into my LLM, all fairly seamlessly, no Python code hidden behind my sleeves. I don't even have sleeves. I got nothing in my sleeves, right? Like I could really see, like I said, last time we talked about it as a GDPR thing. You've gone way beyond GDPR now, right? It's not just for compliance anymore.
No, but you are right. It's where it started, and actually, to be correct, Infinity Mole currently doesn't support sentiment analysis itself.
No, exactly. But what I'm saying is because of your actions, right? I can make those I can have the actions do whatever I want. So I would read your stuff, we'll break it down. Now I've got the data in my data model, and in my load script, after I'm reading that part of the data model from you, I could go call analytics connectors because you've already you've broken it down from unstructured. You've given me the sentences, the words, the things that are there, and I can pass that without me having to worry, how do I convert a PDF into Qlik?
That's true.
Yeah, you've given that to me. If they're working like with our partner single store that's a vector database, I could vectorize that PDF then on the fly. Yeah, very cool.
Up to you what you will do with that afterward.
Yeah.
What's built in, because Infinity Mole is not only about transforming your unstructured data to structured data anymore.
Right.
What's built in directly in Infinity Mole is the pattern recognition function. So as you said, it started with the GDPR, so it goes through all the words you have in your file. And scans for names, scans for email, IP addresses.
So you're kind of doing like an ontology of categorization for certain things, right?
Yeah, but not only based on a simple list like cities, but also with more complex calculations, like for example, really reproduce the definition of bank account, because you know there are some checksums inside and only a specific list of the first strings, and the lengths of the string are real bank accounts and things like that. So there are about, I think, 10 country packages right now, obviously, because every single country has its own definitions for many things.
Sure. Wow.
And I can easily say that, okay, show me all email addresses in my files. And since we are in a Qlik data model,
bam,
now I see data only about the files that contains email addresses.
I like the Scrabble icon picture there.
Yeah, or what I really like to show, especially people who are outside from Qlik environment, that's how you can combine it with the options of Qlik native search, right? So if I want to find everything about Luke Skywalker, yeah, I can use the definition that show me all the strings that contain these 4 letters.
Okay.
And it will show me also the email as well as the surname.
And so you're showing the full file name path, you're showing the file name.
Yeah, all the relevant data about the file.
Yep.
Including the full path where it's stored, because if you want to find it, you need to know where it is, not only how it's called.
Nice.
And yeah, so this is what's done by using Inphinity Mole connector. So something you do when you run the script of the application.
Very cool.
And what you do when you load data about your files and documents. But we were thinking, okay, we built this cool pattern recognition engine.
Yep.
It's so sad it's linked only to files and documents, when so many companies have even unstructured data inside their databases.
Sure.
You know, when there is a field node,
Yep. Yeah.
there is so much stuff you can find stored there.
Yep.
We wanted to allow people to search through that as well.
Okay.
So we were thinking, what is the Qlik native way how we can do that? And obviously the answer was that let's grab this core, this pattern recognition core of Inphinity Mole, and transform it to server-side extension functions.
Okay.
So thanks to SSE functions, it's something you don't need to do in your load script. You can, because we support also the backend SSE functions. But if someone wants to deep dive, everything is written in the documentation.
Wow.
But,
okay.
For demonstration purposes, you could use SSE functions to scan every single field you have in your data model.
Okay.
And find specified patterns. Like,
oh
for
my
example,
gosh. Okay.
if node is coming from my SQL database table,
Oh my gosh.
I can say, go through everything that's written there and show me the emails that are mentioned.
And you could, I'm imagining you could have a column for any of those categorization types, right?
Yeah. And
oh my gosh.
It doesn't end there, yeah, obviously.
Come on. Come on.
You can make the action. You can say that, okay, this has been reviewed and it's a risk, or it's not a risk. It's okay, it's there, because that's also okay. Yeah, sometimes it's okay that the email address is written there or bank account is written there, but it probably shouldn't be in a field that's called node, because that's not secure, that's not compliant.
Right.
So you can define what should be done with that. Yeah, the next field there could be responsible person. Yeah, you can have a drop-down menu with people saying that this one is responsible for that. Combining it with Qlik application automation or SMTP connector for Qlik Send on-prem, they can receive email that an action is needed from them. Is required.
Or an alert or a report. Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
And the last important thing to say here is that you can define your own custom pattern.
Nice. Okay.
That should be recognized the very same way as the building.
Now, would you do that in script, or is that part of your configuration for Mole?
It's part of the configuration, so it needs to be
but once you've defined it once in the configuration, you could use this for 50 apps and
yeah, you do it once, and you can use it when using SSE functions on front end, SSE functions on back end, as well as when you use Inphinity Mole as file connector, as Qlik custom connector.
Nice. And for those who aren't familiar with the term SSE or server-side extension, it's basically visual extensions allow you to pretty up and visualize things in certain ways. The server-side extensions allow you to do things that could either be done in the load script. So like normally you have 300 plus Qlik functions. They give you the ability to add a new function. So instead of substring or agger or sum, you can do mole.find.
Exactly.
And then it looks like your format, you pass parameters to these things. And because you've got it out there registered as a server-side extension, it's just like any other Qlik function at that point. You saw you could do a find on it, gives you the pattern of what you're looking for, and you're in business. Now, how do you register it? So we traditionally think of server-side extensions for on-premise environments. Is this a feature that would be available in the cloud?
Server-side extension on cloud works a completely different way as on-prem. There is this analytic connector and things like that,
Right.
but technically it's a different way how to approach it. But obviously, as a Qlik technology partner, we are do our best so we can give these functions also to our users there.
So what we would need to do is we would have to have some type of an analytics connector, or do we do it through REST? Like, can we just call you through REST then?
Currently, these functions aren't available there,
They're not,
we will see the way how we will solve this puzzle, but we will, because we are working with your Qlik team.
Gotcha.
On how to solve it, so there will be a way.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I could see this being super valuable. Yeah, because typically I think you would, when you're setting up a data flow, you see a field called email, you do something to it, you mark it in the catalog there that it's PII. This is giving you the ability to flag those fields anywhere in any field of data.
Exactly.
Very cool. Very cool.
And notice just an example. I saw so many databases where they have emails in name field, yeah, or bank account number field or things like that. Those are inconsistencies.
Notes, sure.
Yeah, that are data quality issues. So you don't need a person to point out that there is a data quality issue. You can have an engine
figured out for
combining Inphinity Mole functions, server-side extension functions, with data in a data model, saying that, okay, in this field that's supposed to be named, there are 120 email addresses. Obviously, you have some issue in your process that should be fixed.
Very nice. All right, you want to stop sharing your screen? We could just talk for a few more minutes here.
For the developers at heart, could I
you've got something else to show that's cool?
Yeah, very, very quickly. It's something we already mentioned. Actually, this is the application developed by my colleague, not by myself. When I was playing with this Inphinity Flow wizard and the floor plan, I was so excited I wanted to share with the team that, hey, look what I did, and this is a so creative use case. And Thomas, our current CTO,
he says, no, look at this.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Right now, I am working on something that might help you. So instead of updating every single setting in a properties panel by yourself, because I did that manually, I am working on an integration between Inphinity Flow Wizard and Inphinity Mole and Inphinity Forms. And when I click on this custom button, load from wizard, it loads the definition of Flow Wizard. I can easily change the parameters there.
Okay.
And when I click update wizard,
oh my gosh,
it's updated. And it's on the fly. The application wasn't reloaded.
Yeah.
That's why I said this section is for developers at heart.
And I could see what I saw was the X and Y's in the widths, because I could imagine I'm trying to drag or drop, and I'm not positive that the blue box is exactly the same size as the orange box or exactly the same starting point. Pixel perfect control. I'd rather not have to move.
I like that name. Let me change it.
Yeah. That's yeah, that's crazy.
But this is also the way how you can update the measure definitions in a properties panel. So instead of doing it one by one, I could add a field here and do a bulk update that I can also allow in a properties panel and
Oh my gosh.
change it throughout all the nodes I want. And what's the coolest thing about that is that you can apply the very same logic for every single Qlik object.
Yep. Nice.
Because the way how it works is that we use pure, highly technical developer actions
Yep.
that get object properties, reading the JSON definition of a specific object.
Oh my
The
gosh.
ID you can find in developer console. So yeah,
Yep.
really only those who are deep enough could do that, but there are
Yep.
people like that, and for
But
them it will be
you're
like,
saving them the
wow.
trouble. You're saving them the trouble.
So you get the definition of the current Infinity Flow wizard. Yeah, that's the get object properties. Now we are looking at the definition of load from wizard.
Yep.
And then you use action that populate rows for every single column. So it's like series of actions that's done automatically.
Okay. And you could just do add and then you'd add any property you want.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
anything you can find in a JSON definition of the object when you go to the developer console.
Oh my gosh. Oh my.
And what's the trick then when you want to update it is to create a variable that
Yep.
contains what I want to update.
Oh my gosh.
There will be a Tech Tuesday video. Thomas promised me that. So the details will
Wow.
be found there.
Wow.
And then you use action that's called applied patches.
Okay.
So you literally can change any parameter that's in JSON definition of any Qlik object. It could be Qlik table, it could be pivot table, pie chart, bar chart on the fly. But yeah, there is a red wording there that if you do something that you shouldn't, you
Yeah.
can break the object without the possibility to convert the changes. So I highly recommend to do that, to try these things, but in really testing application that you can remove and delete if something goes wrong. But it's powerful. But
Wow.
with big power, there comes big responsibility. With great power, there comes great responsibility. But I just had to share this since Dork Cast is for also this kind of audience.
That's crazy. Thomas, I'm applauding you, buddy. This is really creative. And if you're watching, you understand now why I entitled this Dream Big. That's you guys just think differently than everybody else. And it's such a pleasure. So
And we just finalized the roadmap for 2024. So if anyone is interested, what's coming, feel free to contact me, and I would gladly share some information and insights about it.
nice. So you guys aren't taking 2024 off after having had a great 2023. You guys have more work to do. Oh my gosh. That definitely gonna have to get you back then. Definitely gonna have to get you back then.
That would be great. Okay, now I can stop sharing my screen.
Very
But you
cool.
understand why I had to show this, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would have been like, what do you mean I cut you off and you could have showed that? That's crazy. That's Hugo, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing any more work for another couple of weeks. I'm gonna be playing with all this new functionality and try to find some crazy cool new things to do. Um, crazy cool stuff. And more on the personal side. When we met last time, you were just getting married,
Okay.
or had just been married. And so what's happened in your life that's huge news for everybody else in the world since that time?
Yeah, there was the biggest release. of my lifetime yet. Yeah, because we had a baby, so it's a little cute future data lover and enthusiast.
Nice. Are they using like a little Raspberry Pi in their playpen yet, or are they still just playing with blocks?
With blocks. She's just a toddler now, but I already started explaining to her that when we have one hand, it's 50% of all the hands we have.
Girl, data literacy for
Things like
infants.
that. Yeah, I
Call it
like talking
infant
to her,
data,
and
girl.
this is the kind of way how I'm thinking
Nice. I
because that's
figured
my
you'd be
world.
like,
So.
she lays her blocks out into like a process flow. She does
Yeah, but
flow charts for her day. Nice.
yeah, but as I mentioned, yeah, it's definitely a big challenge for me. Yeah, from being a person having things under control and with a schedule, defining roadmaps and things like that, having a person who just ignores everything, including my plans. But yeah, she already taught me a lot of lessons. But as I mentioned, we also applied to way how we work with end users. And I'm not trying to say that they are on the level of a baby, but actually, when you have a junior person who
Yeah.
sees Qlik for the first time, it
Yep.
is like he or she is a baby in this very specific tool. Yeah, so
Right. Yep.
uh, so the way how I try to navigate her, like, okay, this is what I want you to understand that you could do with those two toys together, or Lego bricks, you can connect them together. I think it's similar to the way how we should think about end users, understanding that they might see this sheet for the very first time in their life,
Hmm.
explaining them what they could do here, saying, you won't break the whole ClickSense environment when you click on this button. Don't be afraid. Let's try it. And yeah, also when you want to have efficient processes, there is a way how you can manage user focus. So the focus management is like the biggest lesson learned from her so far, but we will see what future brings.
Nice. I like that. And I had not heard that term before. But I like that. And I think you're right. That's um the world's ready for all their data. People aren't, right? Companies need people to analyze it all. People aren't ready to do that. Um, and so I like that yeah, I'm definitely going to start using hashtag focus management. And I like the
I will be
way
the first follower.
I like the way even I could see people using those pop-up things in order
Yeah.
um, as the way to consume the data, right? Here's your regions visualized graphically. Pick a region.
Yeah, it's yeah,
And they
master
pick the
visualization
region,
in
and
a
then they
pop-up.
start seeing customers within it, and then they pick a customer, and then they see their opportunities, the ones that were closed, the ones that were won, whatever, and bam, right? They can. It's guided. That flow with those popping up master visuals, that's a guided application.
Yeah, and it
Um,
might end up yeah, with a pop-up that requires action. So
mhm.
you give them all the data they need to find the information. Yeah,
Yep.
because that's what they do with the data. They try to
Yep.
find some issues, opportunities, yeah, or things like that. So it makes sense that this process of analysis will end up in taking action.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. That's very cool. There is a roadmap for 2024, people. Don't, my use case wasn't the end of the world. They kept developing cool stuff even greater than what I came up with. I'm sure glad I didn't build a mole use case and get humiliated by how far you guys have taken mole now. Your stuff is out there in a suite. So when customers sign up, they're getting them all, right? They're not, they
Yep.
don't buy them individually. It's not a loss leader of, oh, look, take this thing and you're going to love it, and then you're going to want this other one. They are a suite, and they all literally work together
Yeah.
as part of it. So you could have use cases that just need one or the other, or you may have use cases where, holy cow. 1 and 1 plus 1 makes 18 with what you can accomplish. Cool stuff. And what's
Very
the
often,
demo site again?
yeah,
Or just say it.
demo.myinfinity.com.
Super easy. Super easy to find. Um, Maria, I thank you so much. I know you've got your plate full being a chief product officer to begin with. Um, you've been married a couple of years now, so you're not really still in a honeymoon phase, but you're under the 7-year mark, so it's still a honeymoon. And you've got a baby to take care of. And you do,
Mama officer.
I think you're crushing them all. I mean, you're absolutely crushing everything because I think you think so differently than others. Love having you as a friend. Thank you for giving me so much of your time today. This was a lengthy one. This might be my longest Dork Cast ever. But there's just so much content. Like nothing that we did was fluff.
Yeah, I wanted to say that there is no section I would say to you that let's remove it to make it shorter.
No, no, and that's for those of you watching. That was one of them. Maybe we need to break these out. It's like, oh, no, because people need to be able to consume it all, and they could jump to any section they want. That's fantastic. I'll try to break them out as to where we're talking about things in the description for the video, but people need to see it all, right? Because it's a game changer. It's what are the use cases that I literally can't do right now, or my process is so cumbersome in jumping between all of these other pieces man, if I understood what I could do it right there in Qlik, and deal with all my data right there. Like, I love it. So
Uh, let's close the circle. I wanted to thank you for inviting me. Obviously, it's my pleasure to show you what's new and to your audience. But I also want to thank you for a really great introduction, because I couldn't imagine better introduction than seeing what you did with our products in Qlik and seeing how excited you were about it. So
oh
thank
my
you very
gosh, I love showing it off. Love showing it off. For everybody else out there, I sure hope you have a great day.